Hey folks, welcome back to the Greg Luchak Show. This is episode 43, another healthcare crisis. Welcome to Talking Points. I'm starting with some talking points and holding the main thrust, the story, my monologue, so to speak, for the next segment of the show. First, let me tell you what is going on. In today's show, I'll be telling you a story that has forced me to make some decisions. Please continue to watch as the story I will eventually get to will have some impact. But let me quickly tell you about the Greg Luchak Show and where we're going from here. First, you will see I'm implementing a few changes to the layout of the show. Typically, my show has consisted of short videos of various construction projects that will continue. However, recent events are very much going to force me to curtail my on-site construction. I am currently involved in a project, a granny suite renovation. You may have seen part one. That will continue until its completion, about a month or so. I do have another major renovation scheduled for the spring. That project is pending. To date, my show is consisted of short weekly videos. I am now planning to start integrating a 30 to 60 minute show that at first will be weekly, but with some hard work and help, I want the show to become a 5-day-a-week, 1-hour show. The show will consist of many topics, from renovation projects to entrepreneurial stories, books I have written, as well as segments on guests and their stories. I may even get a little political. I will be integrating segments within the show, as you will see in this video today. The show segments will be as follows, but not limited to these. It's a starting point. There'll be a monologue, talking points, what's next, and coming soon. Those are some examples. In my effort to make this work, I plan to monetize the show. Some may have noticed that I now syndicate my show through Rumble. My show gets distributed throughout social media from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, as well. I have my website, gmluchak.com, and my sales channel, planetottawa.ca. Keep in mind that this show is 100% free to anyone who wants to watch. In order to monetize, I will have a PayPal button on my website at gmluchak.com for those who wish to support the show with a one-time $10 payment. There is no commitment. It's simply patronage. I would rather do this than create a GoFundMe. I am also seeking corporate sponsorship, so at some point I will have ads built into my show. I will continue to sell my books and artwork and hope people will support the show that way as well. At some point, at a certain point in the future, I will be holding a pay-per-use event through Facebook. I now have that opportunity with Facebook where I can do paid events. There will be more on that in the future. The bottom line is I need to get help from all of you to go to Rumble, sign up. It's free to subscribe, and subscribe to the Great Luchak Show. That's free as well. Monetization on Rumble is much quicker than on Facebook or YouTube. Companies like Facebook and YouTube don't start paying out until you reach like 10,000 subscribers and 30,000 1-minute video views. This is a high demand to meet and will take time that I don't have at the moment. My social media reach right now is probably in the neighborhood of about 25,000. I have hundreds of followers throughout the different sites. So I have a good building block to start from. And that's what it is. I have a building block. In order to reach those higher levels, I need the help of people to subscribe, to share the videos, share our stories, pass it along, and most of all, help support the show. Now I'm going to get to the monologue. I know you've been waiting to hear the so-called story. It is a true story. I'm going to get to it right now. Normally I would put the monologue, at the beginning of the show, but I want to get that stuff out of the way first. So let me get to the story what's prompted this video today, a healthcare crisis. So let me get to the story that has prompted this change. I always wanted to go into this direction, but now I have to do it. So here's the story. As some of you are aware, my wife Christina has had many health challenges in the past 6 years. She managed to stay out of hospital for the past 11 months and 2 weeks, just shy of a year, the longest period out in 6 years. A record for her. When she came home last February, we had home care services set up, 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon. essentially 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This enabled me to work. We have no control over these services, unfortunately. The morning service provider took it upon themselves to change the plan without our permission or even without evaluating, and they reduced the hours from 4 hours to 3 hours. So this now leaves a gap of 1 hour in between home care providers. My wife is disabled. She's unable to get up without assistance, to walk, etc. There's a whole host of things that she needs help with. This change happened very recently, within the last few weeks. On Wednesday, my wife was alone between 12 and 1 because that hour was gone. During that time, she fell off the bed with no one there to help her. When I got home, she was in some distress from the fall. Thursday was Thursday was her 51st birthday. All was pretty good. She was sore from the fall, but coping. And she did a Zoom call with the grandkids, and that was great. Everything went good. I ordered us, a nice steak dinner for us to celebrate her birthday. The food arrived, but my wife was very tired. And I think that, the previous couple of days had a toll on her. I said, well, go to sleep for a few hours and I'll heat up your supper later. Around midnight, I tried to wake her, and it was difficult, but all she wanted to do was sleep. By about 4 a.m., I could hear her moaning, but could get little response, like she wasn't responding to me. By 6 a.m., I just couldn't deal with that anymore. There was something drastically wrong, so I called paramedics. To make a long story short for now, here's what happened. When she fell out of bed on Wednesday, because no one was here to attend to her, during the fall, she ruptured her spleen, and she was bleeding out internally. Nobody knew. So it took a few days for signs to show up. But she had lost a lot of blood volume into her internal cavity, and she basically was in trauma. She was in traumatic distress. So I called paramedics. She went to the hospital, the general. They transferred her to the trauma center at the Civic, where she's fighting. I would say she was fighting for her life. She's stable now. They have figured out what's going on. That's how I know about the story about her rupturing her spleen. So they've managed to resolve the problem. It's a long-term process because I won't get into too much detail, but she's recovering in the trauma unit. But however, it's yet another long hospital stay for her. And it really was unneeded had somebody been here. In good conscience, I can no longer allow situations like my wife being left alone without any professional care. I need to be home. The only way for me to work from home is to do what I've been doing, my online show. Writing books, trying to sell those, creating artwork, hopefully with some support from my social community. I can create something out of everything I'm trying to do. I can create something out of all this support to support my wife and her needs. I currently have a following and a reach of about 25,000 people. It's a small reach, but it is a building block. I'm calling on all of you watching to help us reach this goal to be able to work from home. Running the business, even from home, comes with expenses. In order to operate, pay taxes, cover my wife's medical expenses, and earn a living is significant. Last winter, I ran a GoFundMe for my wife. She was able to collect about $2,000, which she has got in a savings account that she's earmarked for reconstructive surgery that the hospital in Hohip will not pay for. Now, that is what our wonderful healthcare system has become. Underfunded and incapable of providing all the services it should. Cutting back an hour on home care. That's another example. Many are now being privatized with no option of health insurance to cover. Maybe that should be a topic for another day, another show, but enough said. We hope to get your support. Likes and follows are great, but they don't pay the bills. So please subscribe, buy a book, a product. Help my show expand to the point where I can get some corporate sponsorship, because I need to be at home. It's unsafe for my wife to be here otherwise when I'm not here. That's my show today. I want to give you the next segment. It's called Coming Soon. It's a sneak peek into the next video in the series The Book of Dubue Part 4. So stay tuned for that and enjoy. Part 4 of the Book of Dubue, Kings in the Royal Gallery. In this episode, I'm going to be taking you on an epic journey into the past. Stories about medieval kings, queens, knights, and ladies of the First Order. Have you been to the movies lately? Let me start by taking you through the book, and this is a section of the book. It's under Cool Fun Facts. Many books, plays, and television series and movies have been created with characters based on several of our ancestors from the medieval period by famous authors and playwrights, like Shakespeare. Hollywood has produced at least 250 films based on the plays or on characters or plots from plays by Shakespeare. In 1964, Richard Burton, played as Tom Becket, went head-to-head with Peter O'Toole, who played King Henry II, the Dubue Dozen's 24th great-grandfather, in the movie Becket. In 1984, The Life and Death of King John, a made-for-TV movie, is an excellent version of one of Shakespeare's lesser-known plays based on the Dubue Dozen's 23rd great-grandfather. In 1995, Mel Gibson came into his own as a director with Braveheart, an account of and the life and times of medieval Scottish patriot William Wallace's struggle to unify his nation against King Henry I of England, the Dubue Dozen's 21st great-grandfather. So thanks for watching the Greg Luchak Show today. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Stay tuned for that Book of Dubue Part 4, Kings in the Royal Gallery, and more stories from the Book of Dubue. As always, you have a great day and you keep crushing it.